Welcome back to the most professional StarCraft 2 with our first grand finalist and the rank 1 Protoss in the world in the blue. We have herO, facing off against his greatest rival, the 9-time GSL Champion, the Terran in red, the man, the myth, the Maru, in a best of 7 Terran versus Protoss grand finals of the Revival Star League Season 3 of 2025. And before we get started, it'd be incredible if you could smash that like button and maybe even subscribe. And Jimmy, what are we at? One more. 1,752 likes on this video, on this cast. And I'll cast another one. And I'll probably do it anyways, because I don't know what else I do with my life. But thank you for watching. Hopefully, you've had a good day so far. And hopefully it's about to get just a little bit better, as the top 2 players in Korea facing off yet again just one day after their fateful series in the winners bracket. And if you haven't yet watched that series, that best of 7 before this, I'm begging you, I beseech you, at least consider watching it before this one. Because 1, I'm about to spoil it for logistical reasons, and 2, never have I been more confident that a series is just going to be a continuation of the last one, rather than a new one entirely. So, you can pause now, and welcome back, right? After herO defeated Maru 4-3 in one of the most emotionally taxing series I've ever seen, Maru dropped to the losers bracket, where he cyberbullied Shin and popped right back up into this grand finals. But because herO is undefeated, that means he still has to lose a series. So if herO wins this best of 7, he wins the tournament, the grand finals and everything. Whereas if Maru wins this best of 7, we will reset the bracket and play a best of 3, because now they're even. So that is herO's advantage for winning that dramatic series, and Maru's burden. And it's quite a dramatic one indeed. So, and starting things off once again on Evil Heart, as a 2-Rax Reaper build out of Maru, herO has a Twilight Council on one base and is hiding a probe. The Zealot will casually stroll through, but should be stopped by that unique Terran conundrum of doors, which the Zealots do not understand. Plenty of gates, no doors. A Stalker is coming across the map, and things are already getting a little bit confusing to start things off. The Reaper pops right back in the employee entrance. More Reapers hunting down. And the Zealot will be killed, and the Stalker will be stalked in turn. And to start things off, herO with a Shrine to Dark. Dark Templar in game number 1. Just straight up, almost one base rush. Technically, he has a Nexus on the way, practically. Well, it really depends on whether or not Maru realizes DTs are in production. Because on what... Maru's doing a 1 base. herO's doing like a 1.23 base. And Maru's just straight up 1 base. So, the Reapers, they can pop in, but the Reaper wall will keep them from getting any further. There is no real hope of scouting this. Did he see? He doesn't know if there's a... I don't think SCV scouted it all either. So, Maru, what he doesn't know can very much hurt him. And the Dark Shrine, on 1 orbital command, the only detection will be the occasional scan. So if Maru does not see the DTs, at least by the time they're at his door, and there's a chance if he's walking out and herO hits that timing, he can just get in. But there's going to be almost no detection. It could be a free win right off the bat. A DT is coming out. The Reapers are getting zoned out by the Stalkers. A Viking is on the way for Maru. Wait, did he see it? He saw it. Wait, did he? I can't tell if he saw it. He changed from a Viking to a Liberator, and now he's moving out. Oh, I think he caught a split-second glimpse of the shimmer. But Maru, he spotted it. After tens of thousands of hours of looking for exactly that shimmer. It's not going to get past him that easily. And on confirming it, now, I don't think he was 100% confident. He didn't immediately go for a Raven. But he canceled the Liberator, right? He canceled the Liberator and is now going for a Raven. The Dark Templar is going to try to cut through the supply depot, but the SCVs will keep it together in a surprising display of impotence here. But, well, in sniping off the first Dark Templar and shutting down the rest, Maru has carved out a very strong opportunity to get damage done with a potentially game-ending attack. And he's only on one base. Ooh, the DT tries to slip away, but the Marines on the other side easily take it out. And now, Stalkers are going to try to slow it down. They don't have Blink. The Raven, he gets one of the Reapers that helped squander this whole advantage. herO has 44 probes, which is optimistic. Charge is halfway done. The Stalkers are one by one picking off Marines, but he's going to need to up those numbers. Otherwise, that's just far too much Terran. 44 to 18 army supply should really tell the story, but I'm here to help out as well. The Siege Tank's going to be targeted. The Archon tries to get close, but unfortunately, the Terrans have a bit more range. And the Immortal, living up to its name so far. Another one in production. 5 SCVs dead, but buffering for all this. Target fires the Immortal. The probes are pulled off the line. Charge is done for just 2 Zealots. The friendly fire, he actually... Wow, Maru intentionally targeted the Nexus with the Siege Tanks to avoid friendly firing his Marines. And honestly, the damage of the Siege Tanks might have been the last hope here for herO. A Banshee shows up. Immortal gets knocked down. herO's never been accused of leaving the game too early, but it's looking a bit too late for him. Maru, with his special eyes, specializes in shutting down such cheeses and came prepared. He swerved into the Raven and knocks out herO. A decisive victory in game number 1. Maru starts with the lead this time around. Just like herO to start with the Dark Shrine. And Maru with the 1 base. It seems like both players committed to getting that map out of the way as quick as possible. I think that's why it ended up at game 1 of both series so far. But what does it mean when game 2 is also Celestial Enclave? In the previous series, herO spent about 20 minutes battering herO down, and herO refused to bend. To the point that eventually, herO ran out of army resources and motivation, and Maru marched across the map. I mean, there were some other details, but just to boil it down. Now, depending on which narrative you'd like to fit, it's either the Protoss made a significant chain of poor decisions in sending their warriors inefficiently to their death, or you can flip it around and say the Terran's able to just turtle almost infinitely with a ridiculously cost-effective army that doesn't require any sort of economy to back it up. So pick your lane, all right? We haven't had enough cheese to pair with the balanced wine yet, so I'm sure we'll get there. A bit of a cheese in game 1, but... And by a bit, I mean... Clearly. It doesn't feel like as much of a cheese when the Dark Templar just die. But I think that's most lore accurate in StarCraft 2 anyway, so... herO trying to map out his Reaper wall. It doesn't look right. But I think it is a wall. It's just kind of an odd angle. No. Oh, here. No, don't you dare. So that's an So map makers have been so gracious as to include little indicators on where to slap down your pylon in order to wall off efficiently. With like a gate, like 2 gates and a cyber, like 3 buildings. And herO does not know, does not care, or both. Porque no los dos. Not that it matters much against Terran. Unless Maru decides to go for some sort of crazy Hellion play. But, just, you know. As always. Adept is coming out. Stargate will be the choice. Right off the bat. Even before Warp Gate. Trying to speed it out as quickly as possible. And a lot of this relies on the Adept playing zone defense against the Reaper. And so far has been very successful. Not seeing the Stargate. And it's right there. If he jumped up, he sees the Stargate immediately. But seeing an Adept is obviously not a tell, considering last game he also started with one. There is the backdoor scout potential. Always a fun idea, but only the workers are able to pass through. That's a worker-only path, one of our new features that not too many maps implement, but notably here at the Enclave base. herO is definitely taking note of it. So much so, he's just going to shut it down. He does not want to risk anything getting in. Though, honestly, Maru doesn't strike me as the kind of player to send an SCV to try to sneakily scout. It's going to be Phoenixes. Not going to try for an Oracle, but instead Phoenixes. Right now, herO is entirely relying on catching Maru. Overcommitted. Maru so far is playing into his hand. herO has no idea. He has not seen any of this. He knows the map is dark and full of Terrans, but he literally has not scouted. So if Maru just, for some reason, did a Marine push, herO dies. Just straight up. Even if it's not that committed. Because herO's going to have, like, a Stalker, and he's going to have 3 or 4 Gateway units and, like, 3 Phoenixes. But Maru, in his more predictable macro fashion, is going for a medevac with the mines inside. And the hallucinated Phoenix, I feel like, sells the idea he's not going Phoenixes even better. Like, the fact that he built a sentry and is sending out a hallucinated Phoenix, and now he's going to know. He sees the starport's already done, and at a timing that, well, the Spylon's going to spot it. Now it's just up to the reaction time of herO. Medevac drop boosting in. Hellion dropping out. There are the Widow Mines, and he just pulls them right out of the ground right before they're able to burrow. Diffuses the situation. The Reaper still able to get 2 more pickoffs before being tickled to death by the sentry, but he knocks the medevac out of the sky. And herO with the gamble. If Maru hadn't, well, if he had been more adamant about scouting, if he had committed less, but herO got everything. He got all the units. He minimized the damage. The Raven, I think he spotted it too. He might be able to get it in the base. There's not that many Marines. He chases it down, and the Raven gets out. Edgar Allan pwned. Please like and subscribe. 5 Phoenixes, and he gets out with all of them, though one of them a strong gust of wind might blow away. herO, always, almost without fail, herO will do a crazy Stargate, or arguably, just doing a Stargate build is kind of crazy, but the obligatory Stargate build works out with, somewhat pun intended, flying colors, and knocks down the medevac with everything inside, or at least took out everything inside, and gets the Raven alongside a few SCVs. And what do you usually do to scout the Terran? You send a hallucinated Phoenixes. But the real thing's even better. So Maru is forced to show the majority of his army, all the while herO's not just scouting, but he's continually doing damage. He's picking off SCVs. Yeah, he lost a Phoenix. It's going to be star charge overall. Filling this in with charge lots and +1. A robotics facility is on the way. A scan. He spots the Robo, but I'm not actually sure. Well, he sees 2 gases. And a Templar Archives out of herO. I mean, Archons could be good. Storm is obviously great. Where is that Templar? Oh, yeah, of course. Well, I guess this is an unlikely place to be scanned. And so far, this game has entirely relied on hiding that information from Maru to great success. Maru with the combat shield, the +1. He's already got stim? No. Maru, you gotta press the button on stim. He's so stressed out right now, he did not start stim. That's actually a huge deal. And a big mistake. Like, I don't think I've ever... Usually it's combat shield that gets forgotten, not stim. But maybe against the Phoenixes, he wants the combat shield more, but... not having stim is a big deal. Obviously. I don't need to explain that, but I will anyways. And getting plus... Oh, he's already got +1 attack. Yeah, Maru just 100%. He probably didn't have the resources quite enough to get stim and combat shield. I guess he hit the combat shield first. Now, Storm is on the way. herO has been kind of shying away. Not shying. herO never shies away from anything. He's just been ignoring Storm. As the ugly duckling of Protoss. Storm in the newest patch big patch from the intern, not the Balance Council, just a couple months ago. Storm has a lower cast range, one less. It does less damage per second, but it does more damage overall with a larger radius because its duration is increased. So against Medivacs and against Ghosts, it becomes harder to reliably get damage done. But there's only 2 Medivacs, and there are 0 Ghosts, and not because of those fancy cloaking devices, but instead, Maru has absolutely no suspicion. He's turtled up in his base. The Templar already thrown their water balloons, opening up the rocks. Maru has taken the Enclave base, and he's literally turtling up. The turret count is skyrocketing, so they can send their rockets up to the sky. A scan at the main, and he didn't spot the Templar. He sees the double fort. Now that's something. Oh, he still hasn't seen Maru. There's 4 Widow Mines. Does herO have any observers? There's one coming across. herO has 4 bases. He has a massive economic lead. He has the tech advantage. So of course he's gonna go. And Maru does not have stim. Oh no. And it's about to become very relevant. He's not gonna be able to get away. Meanwhile, the door is shut, but the storms go right over the top. Category 5. All he's able to do is walk away. The SCVs pull back. But by the time Storm is done, Stim is done, there might be no units with which to use it. He hallucinates 2 Colossi, because why not? Gets high ground vision. Gonna work on the... Maru was building a 5th command center alongside the 4th, which is a bit optimistic, considering herO is knocking on the door and then uses a force field to shut it. Oh no. Knocks down the command center. And herO just pulls back, really? Which, shocking to me. After his endless... Wow. He lost the Prism, and I don't know if there were any Templar inside, but he has no more with Storm. Back at home, he's just gonna get a fleet beacon. He's gonna get 2 more Stargates. herO sees an opportunity to go carriers. He's gonna take it. The Adept. The sacrifice to the Widow Mines. But Maru is... He's on death's door right now, and he may have already crossed into it. It would take a Major League Baseball level throw here from herO to flounder this one. First Adept, first charge lot sacrificed, actually does some damage to the Ghosts as well. Now, the only splash damage is Archon, so not exactly. Oh, the War Prism tries to slink in, but with the only splash... Oh, okay. Well, a few more Templar gliding up their fancy capes. One charge lot comes in, diffuses the Widow Mines. The other charge lots come in and eat them directly to the face. EMP's a bit late. Storms washing at the Medivacs. The Widow Mine. Snipes come out, but there's just not enough boots on the ground, and the Zealots charge right through the storm. They can weather it. The Archons get a little distracted. The War Prism is also here. Gets knocked down, of course. herO starts 3 carriers. I don't think he's going to have the opportunity to show them off. herO flips the script and equalizes the series. 1-1. Maru getting shook by those Phoenixes. Just mentally, I think, a little off guard. herO showing he could still surprise him. The Phoenixes were a unqualified success. That was as good as they ever could have gone against someone of Maru's caliber. Knocking down, completely diffusing and destroying the medevac drop. And then he got a free Raven. Like, what, is this Black Friday sale? Apparently, getting the Raven was already kind of jumping the shark on it, but then continuing to get, because there's no easy way to deal with the Phoenixes besides praying for Widow Mine hits, which have been reliable enough in the past, but you can't just go Widow Mines, because if they spot them and they don't get the hits, then you're already further behind in building up the rest of the composition. Either way, it was a bad spot for Maru, and herO was determined to make it worse as soon as possible. I like how he pulled back, and I'm like, 50-50 on whether he pulled back because he thought it was a good idea. And the other 50 is because maybe I could get carriers and it would still be a good idea. There were no real bad options for herO after that. But carriers were maybe a bit optimistic to turtle too. I like how that's his first thought, though. The moment he wins a fight, carrier time. What is this, 4v4? But they don't win a fight there. They just go carriers. Usually after a cannon rush. Or complaining their teammates don't defend them. Or both. Porque no nos dos. Well, finally we're splitting from the same map script. Maganatha for game number 3. Both players with a pretty decisive victory so far. No real back and forth. Just finding the timing and hitting it hard. And I have my suspicions that that will be the overwhelming majority of this series. We only saw a couple games go past, really, the 3 base mark, and only because herO let them. Maru more than determined to get damage done when he can. We saw 5 command centers at some point last game. I don't think Maru's going to make that mistake again. Two gases quite early. No, not quite early. What am I doing? That's just caster commentary. 2 gases at a normal ass timing. That's when you get 2 gases. Stalker first. And the probe going to be chilling at the watchtower. Notably not going directly back to the base. Instead, kind of timing out the Reaper. Maru just going for a straight-up 1-Rax expand after being mildly inconvenienced by said probe. Also, Maru did not SCV scout, so the probe will actually slip by. And seeing that bunker is enough. Oh. I was like, well, fine. I wanted to die anyways. Okay. The Stalker trying to get some revenge, but the Reaper just too quick. Bunker should be able to keep it safe. Keep it secret. No, probably not that, actually. Meanwhile, the Stalker is running off into the sunset. You cannot let herO's units go unanswered. You never know what he's doing with them, alright? Usually he's doing some very awkward-looking patrol paths. On individual units. He loves doing that. The Stalker just ignores it. Reaper Hellion casually strolls by. Decent amount of hits on the first Hellion. Another Stalker. We're doing a full map chase here. And... well, somehow nothing dies. Though the Hellion cannot be repaired. At least not easily. Oh, it's gonna get taken out, the Stalker. The Reaper will spot a very quick third base, though, out of herO. And... dun dun da da dun dun da da dun dun da dun dun dun. Wait, what? That's Price is Right. I was... no. Dun 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 dun. That's what I was going for. Something else I definitely cannot play any sound clips of without getting copy striked into oblivion. Maru using the speed zones around the edges, and I think just barely evading the Stalker tap in the watchtower. There's a couple Stalkers already anticipating some sort of shenanigans, but that's standard fare. And, well, the hallucinated Phoenix in the main, the Widowmine drop boosting in. The Stalker's in position, Blink not done, the probes are pulled! Oh, workers! Citizens arrest! But a dangerous game. Maru tries to get the greedy hit, but he loses the medevac and he loses both mines. The bomb has been defused. Maru he retargeted the mine, as you can do, as it's locking on. But herO never half-asses anything. He full-asses or nothing. Full commitment. Almost lost half his mineral line to one Widow Mine because he pulled the probes. But instead, he's able to deal with it quickly and concisely. And honestly, that's half the battle against mines. Sometimes you get into this back and forth where you're kind of dancing around and have to keep going back and forth. It's just not fun. Now, herO has Blink Stalkers. He blink. Maru has a bolt. Hey, help me, Step Stalkers. I'm stuck. Well, not for long. herO blinks in. He's gonna go for the combat shield. Uses the hallucinated Phoenix for the Widowmine. Gets combat shield denied. He's losing Stalkers quite quickly, though. And once again, Maru will be delayed on Stim. But, well, that's 6 Stalkers so far. And, oh, don't do it. Why are you like this? He recalls the Survivor. What a tale to tell. But, he delays the upgrades, but Maru already has quite a standing army. And we gotta ask ourselves that question. Have you liked and subscribed? And at what cost? Like, that was all of his Stalkers, but one. He warped in another round, but Maru, like, right at the timing when herO doesn't have the production. He's got 3 gates and a robo. He's building 3 more. He's getting charge. It just finished, +1. 5 more gates, but the production hasn't come through yet. herO is dealing with an army that's currently trundling across the map that's several times his supply. Stim and Combat Shield don't take that long to complete, but until they do, Maru still kind of hesitant to go forward. Robo Bay is completed now. Colossi could be a massive help in this sort of fight. And Maru is not committed to an all-in, but instead, he has a 3rd command center completed. So, decides to pull back for a while yet. I wouldn't be surprised to see him come out again with the 1-1 finishing. Or, sorry, the Stim and Combat Shield, which in my mind is 1-1. It's usually attached to it, really. Well, for the first time, Extended Thermal Lance has begun. But mine's a little further as the charge lot. herO just sends out pretty much all of his... That's all of his charge lots. Goes for the backstab. Though, Maru doesn't have much to stab at. He's still on 2 bases. Despite the 3rd command center, there's not much to really pull him back to. Despite the 3rd command center, indeed, the boys are pulled off the line. And he's going to hide them from the watchtower. A full commitment. The SCVs are pulled off the line into the fight. Maru trying to hit this timing with deadly effect. Though a Colossus is already completed, Extended Thermal Lance is nearly done. A 2nd Colossus could be a game ender in herO's favor. But herO decides to go forward, fighting into the army. The Colossus being targeted by the siege tank. The Marauders step forward. Colossus steps into the unit's lost tab, and oh no. herO, he was challenged to a fight and he accepted without considering the consequences. 1 Colossus can be shrugged off, 2 is a lot tougher to deal with, and it didn't have the range it needed. Charge lots warped in. 23 SCVs dead for the cause. The Colossus, distracted by the siege tank, might be enough to take it out, but the Bio Army just ripping through the Immortals, gunning down the Stalkers. The reinforcements have arrived. And the Colossus tries to stutter step back. The Marauders put it down. The charge lots are not enough. herO. He dug too deep and too greedily with the Blink Stalkers. And despite the delay, Maru still, he didn't stop the army. herO did nothing to slow down the actual army. The boys were pulled despite the 3rd command center again. Maru still has 45 SCVs at home. The Tacti boys on the front lines. Takes out the Robo, and herO has never been accused of leaving a game too early. 50 supply, the charge lots, the emotional support fields. And Maru with a nearly 100 supply lead, which is impressive because he's at 123. Okay, herO. Gonna be chased down. I mean, you know, he might be playing Maru in the Terrans get tilted, alright? When you clearly should have left the game several minutes ago. But I honestly think this is just herO being herO. Like, maybe with these Blink Stalkers. Maybe not, though. GG. taps it out as Maru gets up the ramp, and Maru back in the lead. 2-1. A topsy-turvy series yet again. But the most predictable yet disappointing commitment. Trading pretty much his entire army for a delay on the upgrades. And here's the thing. When upgrades are destroyed, you get the money back. If, like, the tech labs that are researching STIM, he gets 100 back. Now, he has to rebuild the tech lab, but otherwise. So even that, it's not even really an economic hit. It's just a slight delay in the attack timing. So, optimistic from herO. And it doesn't quite land. We're going to Tokamak for game 4. Maru regains his lead. Though that's not necessarily helped him before, as in their previous series. Maru went up 3-1. And then herO decided, all right, entertainment value achieved, and won the next 3 in a row. I would never trust a lead against herO until you hit whatever the number is to win the series. Literally every moment until then. He does not get tilted. All right? It might even be part of his master plan, assuming he ever had one. And this time around, he sends out the probe right off the bat. Just gonna poke and prod and do whatever he can to harass the SCVs. Not just physically, but emotionally as well. Because the damage probes have done throughout to the psyche of StarCraft, but even Protoss, in many cases, is incalculable. Has you or a loved one been hurt by a probe before? Smash a like and subscribe button near you for help. SCV, but a Marine first out of Maru. Not a Reaper. Gonna drive the probe away. Good reaction time. Slippery enough to evade. And now... so far, it's 1 Rax expand against 1 Gate expand. So, neither player since game 1 really willing to commit to the all-out cheese. Instead, finding a bit more long-winded opportunities to get the damage done. And a Twilight Council out of herO. Honestly, well, I was going to say for Maru playing so macro, but last game he literally pulled 20 SCVs. Like 25 even. Whatever was at the natural, just pulled it and went. Even with some delay in order to hide it a bit longer. And it was perfectly timed. I think he read herO amazingly well there. Knowing herO would be willing to take a fight too early, as he so often does. The thing is, and much like the person he's currently using as a portrait, Zest, it's that violence of action. Sometimes there's a lot of value in just showing up and punching them in the face. All right? It's not a known quantity. It's that crazy, unhinged quality that can sometimes be even more effective. The Forrest Gumpian school of Protoss, that herO is the lead spirit guide and also accountant of. Moonlighting. If it doesn't work, you didn't hit hard enough. Mom always said build orders were like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get. Shield battery. Not sure what he's expecting with a shield battery, though. Especially since it was Marine first, which means more likely to be a direct early timing. Hallucinated Phoenix, though, gets a full scout, including seeing the Widowmine just chilling there. I feel like Widowmines have a lot of pent-up, anxious energy, though. Just like me, for real, for real. Like and subscribe for existential dread. Single Widowmine. Still. A dangerous proposition. Sends it out across. And obviously, herO's aware of it. Sometimes the threat of a Widow Mine drop, as we've seen, can be more dangerous than the Widow Mine drop itself. And sometimes not. Sometimes it just dies. So don't take everything as an absolute. Let's be honest. Well, he telegraphed that like it was 1873, and now, herO? I'm actually kind of surprised Maru sent out the first medevac, or at least committed it at all. Because now he's in the position that Terran players often find themselves in, but none are comfortable with. The Protoss does have map control. Oh, the Blinkstalkers get in. This time around, there's nothing to really challenge them. He still really hates tech labs. No add-ons, all right? Takes it out, the siege tank, sieging. He's gonna whittle down the marine count to critically low levels. And there's a real opportunity to just take out the bunker as well. Recalls, oh, there's a Liberator. The only thing keeping herO from potentially outright killing Maru, but he takes out the Liberator. Didn't react fast enough after the recall. And a delay, but not a turnaround. Storm is on the way. Double Forge. Charge. herO has 61 probes to just 46 SCVs. And Maru does not have a third command center to back this up. So, as long as herO stays on this course quickly enough, it will lead him to a very advantageous position. The only risk is if he loses all his stalkers blunking in again and blunders it. But that should just be enough, yeah. There's not a siege tank in place. There's one on the low ground, but he's just going to target it. Shift blink him back. Great stutter, staggering the blanks. And bleeding out the Marines until medevacs and combat shield are done. You can really tell why it's so important to have those tanks blinks it again. And just on his doorstep, on his front lawn, shooting in his windows. Reminds me of home. But +1 is completed. Stim and combat shield still further out. A lot of those stalkers badly bruised. I don't think the SCVs are going to repair for them. The scan spots the Templar archives. Maru has two bad choices right now. One is commit to the fall all in. Two is don't. If he goes, it's gonna be trouble. But if he stays, could be almost twice as much. Like, as time goes on, herO is only gonna get further and further ahead. The Templar are on location. Recall is not quite off cooldown, but he actually spots the double drop, and herO's just gonna go forward. There's a couple, well, just one siege tank. There's an adept in the main somehow. The storm, force field on the ramp. Back at home, herO will warp in on the high ground. A lot is gonna be depowered, but herO can afford. Well, the storm still obliterates 15 SCVs. He's gonna recall at point blank. It's still enough. The stalkers, a lot of them will be cut down, but no, the damage is done. What? Well, until there's a... herO loses 3 Templar just casually, like... Okay, well that wasn't great. herO ends up losing an inordinate amount of stalkers. 3 High Templar for free. But he still has a 20 supply lead. He still has 11 gates, many of which are still powered. Technically the gold base. Energy recharge slaps 50 energy into one of those Templar. Should have a storm ready. A few more probes will die. Zealots just being casually thrown into the fray, but even a single storm should be too much. But Maru gonna battle it out. There's certainly more than one. And individually splitting units, but charge lots are being warped in. He's trying to save up some more energy on those Templar. Maru is rallying, but without the SCVs to tank the damage, then the charge lots and blink stalkers should be able to pick them apart eventually. More probes gonna go down. Templar. Enough energy for storm again, but there's barely enough units to even think about doing it. Just gonna throw it in there. I'm more of a matter of principle at this point. But wait, there's more. GG. And we're all tied up again. The pendulum flips right back as herO ties up the series 2-2. Another topsy-turvy experience. And no real trend. The only trend is whoever won the last game loses the next one. And it started with Maru, so that trend does favor him as time goes on. I can do basic math. Source. Just trust me, bro. A pylon at the... Okay. This is, a rare Pokemon. We'll see. Rarely do you wall off like this against Terran. Not sure if herO has anything particular in mind. Of course, it allows you to get... I guess you can get the probe across a little quicker while still building a pylon, but... No, the SCVs... politely yet firmly escort the probe away. I don't think it's going anywhere. Comes back around. Already traded out shifts with another SCV. It's 2 gas this time out of Maru. And the probe in the midst... No! Stop right there, criminal scum! The penalty for trespassing is death. Yeah, you tell him, Sarge. Shut up, Billy! herO throws it out there. herO just laughing. Or Maru laughing. And herO responding. Your hubris will be your downfall. The only downfall will be my drops onto your mineral line. I'm sure something just as poetic. Shout out to the Korean translator in the comments. You're amazing. Did herO just Reaper wall with a single pylon? Does that work? We're gonna find out, I think. I'm really excited to find out this does not work. I mean, so... Maybe. Yeah, we're gonna find out. I keep saying that, like, we weren't. So, he's clicking. Can he... He's definitely trying to click by it. Wow! Stop right there. Again. Just shut down. Meanwhile, starport for Maru. Double Hellion. It's a important point. Shout out to the blind viewers. Kind of have to, as always, but it's a proxy starport on the other side of the map for Hellion drop. Meanwhile, herO slaps down yet another pylon and blocks the Reaper entirely. But the Reaper also got close enough to spot the Twilight Council, so not exactly hiding the most information. So now what? Okay, wait a second. He wants to do a Hellion drop, but herO is just kind of casually built 2 Adepts, which is going to be quite a tax on the Hellions. Unless the Adepts were on hold position. Well, 4 Hellions should give much of this away. He takes minimal... Well, Adept is chasing. Might get 1, which does reduce the potential effectiveness. The medevac is already done, but herO successfully delayed the drop enough to kind of invalidate the extra time. Now, there is a non-zero chance the game kind of just ends. herO is cognizant of the fact that this could be a Hellion drop. There's 2 Stalkers. You could try to micro out with the medevac itself. Does lose 1 Hellion. Only 5 kills, which it could be much worse. But there's still time. Meanwhile, the medevac just disrespecting the stalkers entirely, and herO knows the threat is the Hellion, so doesn't bother going for the medevac. Drops in another couple. The most spicy elevator play. Just burninating across the mineral line. And, well, 15 probes will leave herO with a very serious problem. Maru did expand behind this, and he's going Cloak Banshee, which... Oh. Yeah. Yeah, that'll do it. The robotics facility just started. That is far too late. There's a siege tank back at home, a single SCV contracted out to repair the medevac. And, well, herO gonna shift blink out, but cloak in 5 seconds. Oh no, it's a disaster. He's gonna wait, and oh my. herO's not gonna tap it out, because that's not herO's way. But he would be well within propriety here, even in a grand finals. Because, oh my. Well, there's another Banshee coming in, and at this point, there's a chance he could just fight the Stalkers beforehand. There's a second Banshee. And not just the probes killed, but he just hasn't been mining almost literally at all. It's bad. It's really bad. herO technically has 3 bases, but he barely has enough probes to rebuild probes. herO, one of the only players in the world, I think, who would not leave the game now. But that's why he's the best, all right? But, wow. He's bleeding out. He's gonna make Maru come kill him. And Maru is happy to oblige. There's not even enough stalkers to reliably pick off the tanks. Maru marches across the field. And Maru, once again, flips it right back. Maru's on match point. 3-2. The pendulum swings as the drama continues. The madness, if you would. In the most literal sense. As we head into winter madness. Right at the beginning. Probe already halfway across the map before the barracks is even close to starting. Does build a pylon at home, but such a split. Maru choosing his build perfectly there too. Even though herO kind of delayed it, he literally had nothing on those Hellions. Because he did the adept cheekiness early, means he didn't have enough stalkers to kill the Hellions before they slaughtered far too many of his probes. And honestly, the Banshees were kind of a formality at that point. I like how Maru just slapped down the barracks here so the SCV is slightly more protected. But the probe has something to say about that. Metaphorically, of course, as Protoss don't have mouths. Though I think probes are... Maybe that's a bit more questionable. How do they do the mining? Not to anthropomorphize. Well, it's 2 gas again. Maru realizing yet again the value of early aggression. Oh, we need a moment. Like, these are also... It goes from barely anything to game ending so quickly with these two. They keep going for headshots. And if they miss, wide open for the counterattack. And so far in this series, that counterattack has almost always been deadly. That's why we're here, 3-2, every game swinging back and forth. Maru. We're back to the Stargate. All right, and the probe in a conspicuously inconspicuous location as it circumvents the Reaper to head in for another scout. Adept's gonna zone it out. Now, if he spots a second Adept, that's almost a giveaway. Though, last game he went 3 Adepts that went in the Blink Stalkers, and it didn't work out great for him. But I feel like herO just kind of randomizes the gateway units he builds early, so you can't read into it at all. Now, like, a sane Protoss player going for 3 Adepts would almost always mean Stargate. But as we've already seen, there's no guarantees here. Reaper still hunting. The probe's just chilling. Wait, how much info? It actually saw the second command center. The most relevant part. Phoenix is being built. And this time, Maru's going to try his hand with Cloak Banshees yet again. And technically, with Phoenixes, you don't have any way to shut them down. You need an Oracle with Revelation. It's probably the easiest method. Second Adept on the high ground might be a bit of a giveaway. So far, herO doesn't have a sentry for scouting either. But he's gonna get more aggressive than we saw in the past. 4 Adepts, 2 Phoenixes, and Cloak is still a long way off completion. So any Banshees are just gonna be target practice for the Phoenixes unless they're protected. And they die very quickly, if they can see them. Adept's just shading back and try to pick off an SCV or 2. Gets one. Oh, he actually cancels. Realizes there's probably not much to take him out. But the Banshees have snuck past without being spotted. And there's absolutely no detection at all. Once again, herO is going to be faced with the Cloak Banshees. He has a much more direct response. In fact, he's trying to build an Oracle, but in typical herO fashion, he's supply blocked. Realizing now maybe he needed this. Shield battery's on the way, which would have been the stopgap, but Phoenix caught in mid-map. Gonna lose a few probes to the Banshees, and now the Marines and tanks are moving across. Definitely obviously less damage than last game, but Maru unable to find really the sort of damage he needed in order to set up the tank push. But there's not a lot of options. herO already has a 3rd base on the way. Maru cancels. He cancels his refinery to pull the boys. He's gonna pull the majority. About half of them left at home. The mule's still mining, but he needs to get something done. He knows it. There's really no tech follow-up. There's no other production. A Banshee gets knocked out of the sky. Small win, but important for herO. The Adept shade across. Wait, what? Okay, wait. That is still a lot of units. The Adepts are shading there and back again. An Adept story. He needs those Adepts, though. Like, they went too far. Keep him as an option. More Phoenixes on the way. The bunkers will be in production. It all comes down to this. Does he shade in with it? Yes. He can pick up the tanks. Or just take out the Banshee. That's how he starts. Picks up the Cyclone. Tanks as well. The Adept count is high enough. The bunkers are still building. But will there be anything left to put in them? Absolutely not. I think he's got it. Well, the Adepts are being shaved away, but herO's Phoenixes still have plenty of energy. A Viking will land, creating one of the most... Well, the bunkers finish. Those Marines are sprinting for it. And, okay, wait. Well, this got a lot more complicated because he pulls probe. Wait, what? No. herO, what are you doing? herO! Stop! Stop this! Stop this madness! Just warp in stalkers! I guess it's only 3... Well, he only lost 4 probes, so I guess it was worth it. The shield battery doing some real work. He energy recharges it to sustain the battle probes. And, well, 40 to 80 supply. That's the story here. It's over. But Maru's gonna make herO come take it. Picks up a Phoenix, gets another. And the Phoenixes are out of energy for the most part. They're like 1 more lift, maybe. Slowly building up. Is the only reason Maru's even thinking about going any further in this game. But there's always going to be 1 more at this stage. And the Oracle can light up. He's just spawn camping him. Which in most games is considered to be a dick move, but it's strategically sound. Cloak Banshee. He recalls the Oracle. herO brings us to game number 7. As it swings back yet again. And bringing us to that scenario. Well. So. If Maru wins this game, then he's won a series against herO. They've evened it up. And we'll play another best of 3. And then, since they're even, whoever wins that. But if herO wins this game, he wins the tournament. And we're going to our most dramatic map. Our most exciting, in my opinion. On Mothership. So, now the trend says Maru wins this one. herO says it's time. It's proxy time in the middle of the map on a 3-player map. Because of course he does. herO's going to gamble everything with it all on the line. Well, I guess he has a little bit to fall back on. But a proxy gate mid-map, which is very unlikely to be scouted because if you take a normal scouting pattern, it completely misses the middle of the map because you're going kind of from side to side. This is like a Brood War. Brood War, from my understanding, has a lot more multiplayer maps past the 2-player, where the middle of the map is actually one of the least likely places to scout normally. Though, and also conveniently for herO, he's scouted where Maru was first. Is going to harass some of the SCVs, keep him busy. Is this just a Max Packs build? I think it is. Max Packs, when he first came onto the scene, with the 1-gate proxy macro build that kind of shook Protoss versus Terran entirely, to the point Parting was using it in GSL. That was the original kind of unveiling of Max Packs. Now, somewhat amusingly, Max Packs has become probably the best macro Protoss in the game, and herO is much more likely to pull out these sort of crazy strategies. And I think that's why Maru is choosing to build his command center on the high ground. Alright, he knows herO will not shy away from such commitment. Alright, he'll put a ring on it. And he'll ask to reaffirm next year and the one after. It's a bit much. Can you actually go? I still don't know if you can fit through those rocks. Alright. Which, I mean, maybe smaller units like probes and zealots, but maybe not stalkers or your mother. So, the Reaper spots the zealots on the way. And here we go. Cancel everything, but he's still supply blocked. Oh no, he cancels an SCV in order to be able to build a Marine, but the zealots are gonna come knocking at the door with the tournament on the line. Let me in! But Maru says, you shall not pass, at least for now, until I run out of money to repair. But the Stalker coming in, gonna knock out one of the SCVs. And delays the potential bunker, but if it does complete, he does have a Reaper. He doesn't have any... herO has no probes here to pull. Chopping his way through the depot. There's not enough SCVs. He gets in and leaves. His work here done. That devilish depot destroyed. Its dastardly deeds done. Decisively. Well, now what? Maru has a command center. Orbital command now completed. He's got the bunker on the high ground. Will herO go for it? Of course. He's gonna go for the other depot. He hates depots. Gonna target some SCVs, but the Cyclone is done, and we'll be able to chase the Stalker. I don't think he has enough damage to discourage it, really. He's still rallying out Stalkers. He has... That's it. There's just one gate in the middle of the map. That's it. He's building a second gateway back at home, but herO, in a very, very tenuous position in Game 7. The Stalker. There's only one Stalker back at home, but it does have shield batteries. Now, there's a very real scenario that this evens out. Like... that Maru is able to take his natural and hold it, but herO already has his and can build probes faster as Protoss with Chrono Boost and controls the map with Blink Stalkers. So, by no means, well, the gateway is spotted, but by no means is herO in a terrible position. It is uncomfortable. Because Maru has had his tech online for longer, he's going to build up the siege tank count. I have a sneaking suspicion the boys may yet again be called to the front lines. Liberator completed. He's getting a tech, like... There's not a huge reason to take a risk right now as Maru. Unlike the previous game when he lost all his tech and had a worse position, like, it's kind of on herO to keep control of the situation. Because if Maru just builds up into Stim and Medivacs, it's going to be a tough army to beat for someone who's a long way off even thinking about splash damage. The Liberator up against the air blocker force field edge. Will siege to make sure it doesn't wander too far. herO picking off what he can, which is exactly an SCV. Charge the choice afterwards. The lowest hanging fruit, but an effective one. And really, herO can't afford much more. That won't stop him, but realistically. Stalker. Oh, come on. Okay. So there was that series against Shin. I was wondering if that was a Reaper jump location. It obviously is. To answer that question from the previous match. It was just herO Maru misclicked. Freudian slip there. At the wrong time. Oof. Siege tanks. Enough to drive away the Stalkers, and the supply gap is widening. Observer sniped off over the display minerals. Storm has begun. He needs it. Desperately. Maru has that mid-game army that we were talking about a few games ago that we haven't really seen in this series because of the commitment of both players to such designated pressure. One Marine, but that Storm better be chrono boosted. Do you not have energy? He actually doesn't. Charge lots coming across the map. The Templar, they don't have energy yet. He's still too far off a Storm. The Templar are way too far out right now. Now, Maru can't know they don't have Storm. But just having them out here is intimidating. herO really looking to engage the army before it's knocking on his door, but I don't think Maru's going to give him much of an option. Storm is now completed. herO is supply blocked. It's really not going to get much better than this. Storm thrown out, but targets the other Templar. And the siege tanks obliterating everything on the front line. And there's not much at the back. Another Storm, but that's a beautiful split. I can't believe it's not butter. Autumn colors for many of the Marines and Marauders, but the medevacs will pull them together. And Maru... well... herO just doesn't have enough gateway. At this point, he can't reinforce. Without getting a critical Storm, he's going to struggle to break this at all. Maru's just producing more. And there's not enough Storm. The charge lots are coming in. The best case scenario, the Widow Mine doesn't really help. The Immortals, not able to target the tanks. herO might drive this back for a moment. The Archon is evaporated by the Withering Fire of the Marines. Going to go for the third base, but don't worry, there's no probes there. herO couldn't afford them. There's a pylon on the other side. Gonna try to target down some of these medevacs. Picks off one. Thankfully, nothing inside for Maru. But herO, the quest rests on the edge of a knife. And right now, there's a very narrow path to just staying alive, let alone turning the game around. A second proxy gate. We've had first proxy gate, but how about second proxy gate? Though herO has lived, Maru has a third command center on the way. herO with the strongest mid-game defense so far, and just when he needed it most. The scan, making sure he's not wandering into Storm. It's still a very difficult scenario. He does not have he doesn't even have a forge, so no upgrades. He's gonna rely... well, the energy on the medevacs is almost gone. They wander into the fray. But a Widow Mine drop. 3 kills. Another one. The sacrifice. Not accepted, but he'll take it out. There's still a Liberator in the corner that I think everyone forgot about. The Widow Mines will be dealt with. But herO's only had 45 probes. Going to try to pick off this medevac. May succeed. It stops right over the pervert pillar, the high ground. herO. Oh no. A medevac standing very still. Protoss vision is based on movement. And the fact that he has no high ground vision. Just one moment. Gets it. And here we go. The ghost though! And he hits the EMP. And this fight might be over before it started. Some more Templar coming up. herO's still dangerously close in supply. Couple Liberators. The Venn diagram of freedom, he's just going to try to go forward because there's really no going back at this stage. The Immortals are blasting through. The SCVs pulled off. The Templar trying to get in range. Storm on the SCVs. Most of the Bio Army. Another Templar from the right side. There's no more Storms. The Immortals are left on their own. The Terran army might be too much. The medevacs keep it all together. And Maru, I think, swings it right back. herO's gonna fight it out a little further, but he's never gonna build that army again. He found the Liberator. Oh no. The Liberator siege is up, adding injury to insult. The charge lots will counterattack. There's not even enough stalkers to really contest it. We'll just have to chase it away. Meanwhile, the army making sure he's not walking into the Storms. But he's going to be happy to see absolutely nothing but probes for the taking. A couple Templar will be pre-scanned. And he just gets out. 9 probes dead. herO not willing to give it up yet. But I have a sneaking suspicion. We're going to be going to Game 8. He had an opportunity right before the Ghost came out, but hero's economy is so... well, if he takes out these medevacs, any of them with units inside would be massive. Unfortunately, Maru, whether by a fortuitous pickup or by planning. Put his units in the medevacs that were least bruised. The Ghost Drop. Looking for the EMP. Actually, beautiful Templar split. Manages to avoid the EMP entirely. But there's a few more where that came from. And by that I mean like 7. The Archons just evaporate. The boys are pulled yet again. This time on defense. But 1-1 versus 0-0. No splash damage. Not enough supply. And Maru! That's it. GG! Maru wins 4. herO just 3. And that means Maru has now won just as many series as herO. And we're all tied up, bringing us to a final best of 3. The winner will take everything. After now 14 games between these two. Wow, really? In game number 1 of the reset, we'll be on Mothership. There and back again, yet again, determined to leave where we left off. To start where we left, I don't know at this point. But the final series. At least they're different spots. Maru, I can't. Literally every game has been back and forth. As in Maru, herO, Maru, herO, Maru, herO, Maru. Which bodes well for herO now that I'm kind of following that trend out. I feel like this series is less of a tug of war and more of those ridiculous slapping competitions where you go up, get a big ass slap, okay, and the other person just has to sit there and take it, and then it's their turn. And I feel like whoever goes first has a pretty distinct advantage, but I'm no expert slappist. I'm just here to pretend to be one. So every single game was a little bit different. There were some consistent trends. And I don't think we've seen 200 supply yet. That might be the most obvious trend over all of it, is the focus on early aggression. Neither of these players willing or able to get to that later game. Getting even more early game focus than we saw in the best of 7, the winner's bracket before it. It really just feels like a poker game. They both have their cards, and when they decide to play them and let the chips fall, or in other references that make me sound like I know anything about poker. All right, gonna go all in. But we'll see if herO has a royal flush, or if Maru is too straight for that. Or moving on. Sentry first, as herO scouts the wrong direction. Not by anything he could do, just random chance, while Maru gets the right one. But a sentry, wait, okay. Well, the Reaper can heal, and any damage he does past the shields... Huh. herO wall. Another great example of the eclectic genius of herO's architectural school of kids who can't draw good. Just straight up failed the Reaper. And the Reaper... Oh, this is just disrespect. Okay, he gets it. Well, now, what did he scout? He didn't scout. Did he see the? He did not see the Twilight Council. He was so close with the Reaper. Focus up. All right. Usually we don't have 8 games and counting, but here we are. Honestly, this series hasn't been that long. It's just been action-packed, and that's what they all tell me is better. Twilight Council Blink, a relatively standard build. herO falling back to it, or blinking forward, whichever makes more sense. And Maru might be reading into the lack of information and thinking he can get aggressive. And it's a possibility, but herO just has a bunch of stuff. You know, that would be the real flip. Is herO just sitting back and letting Maru get aggressive the whole time? And it may very well work in his favor. He's got the Stalkers. He's kind of prepared for something besides a direct attack. Falls back. The medevac here, potentially to juggle the Cyclone. He needs those Stalkers. Blink is still 20 seconds out. And without it, Maru debated darting in towards the main, but ends up hedging his bets and going back. Engineering Bay is on the way. Maru clearly working for a later game proposition. Hallucinated Phoenix will get the full scout. And, in fact, Maru actually just shows him that the medevac is back home. Which, he wanted to deal with the Hallucinated Phoenix, but I feel like that was a bit of a mistake. Because now, herO knows for sure that nothing's waiting to pounce on his mineral line and slaughter his probes, so that sense of security, however slight it might be, makes it a lot easier to move out with your Stalkers safely. I want to get a third base already. Templar Archives. We only saw Colossi in one game so far, and they had a tough showing for the few seconds they survived. Storm has been a little bit better, but... And this might be the best opportunity to show it off without there being a bunch of damage done already. Like last game, herO had already committed so hard to the gateway build that Storm was a desperation move, as opposed to a reliable tactic. And then earlier in the series, Maru had forgotten his stim and was so tilted by the Phoenixes that he had no chance to get into a position to deal with it. So now we're going to see Storm with an economy for possibly the first time. Stim, Combat Shield +1, the triple threat coming together. The Templar Archives and the Templar themselves are scanned. A very important and relevant scan for Maru. We'll see how he adjusts. Sends out a single medevac and then decides not to. Sends it immediately back. Zoning out with the siege tanks. Doesn't want to deal with those blink stalkers any more than he has to. herO thinking about a fourth base already. Wow. Just slaps it down. Whips it out. No shame. Gotta respect that level of confidence. Now we'll see if it works out. He knows Maru scanned the Templar Archives and the Templar. So he's playing... Maru's playing very defensive. He knows the threat of herO just dunking on him with storms and charging forward is very high. And herO may still do that anyways. But this fourth base is safe because of that threat of aggression that herO could very well make good on. So, and the Observer has been continually scouting all this, just in case he wasn't intuiting it. Whoa, whoa! Casual Templar and an Archon merge in a very forward position. The Storms don't do much. The feedbacks are a little bit better. The Liberators will siege up. Will herO stop? No. Storms on the back line. Widowmine gonna slam into the Warp Prism. And herO walked right into an entrenched concave of Terran. Somehow, the Warp Prism survived, but almost nothing else did. He saves one Immortal, 4 Stalkers blinky away, but then lose motivation. And may lose the Prism. How? The Immortal actually got out, so he has that going for him. And there's no medevacs. And there's a scout. Wait, what? What? I'm getting whiplash. herO loses the fight, therefore he wins it. Maru was so convinced after herO blundered that fight so comprehensively that he could go forward. But he did lose his medevacs, as he's been investing in Liberators. He had nothing to heal his army. And then suddenly, a single warping of charge slots just eviscerated it. Now the fact that herO has a 4th base done against Maru, who's only mining off 2. He has the 3rd command center, but you can only mine with so many SCVs at a time. So herO, well, mules will make up a lot of that gap, but... Maru now fighting from a very uncomfortable position. Does he have a Ghost Academy? Indeed he does, but no ghosts on the... Well, there are ghosts on the field. There are ghosts right there. He needs that 3rd base. herO, a 5th base, why not? Getting possibly the closest to 200 supply we've seen. Has some Templar and the Prism to protect them from EMPs and to live dangerously, as he loves it. And the Liberators eating the storms, the charge lots, just shrugging them off. Going to lose most of the charge lots, but Maru going to be wiped off the front line yet again. The Warp Prism in a good position to deal with it. There's only a single Archon. There's no other splash damage, so Maru may be seeing an opportunity to move out and try to get something done. Break out of this position. It will cost him much of his economy at the very least. Whipping out the EMPs on the Immortals. The Stalkers, the Archon still helping out a lot. The SCVs, he pulls off some more. I don't think trickling SCVs into the front line is a long-term recipe for success. As herO continually warping in, reinforcing, and Maru's supply is dwindling each time. It's not about how many charge lots you lose, it's about how many times you can continue warping in on Maru's front lawn. And herO, despite some meandering moves across the field, eventually turns everything around. And I think, again, we'll swing back and take game number 1 of our final series. It's still happening. The script, as it's gone so far, points to a herO victory. But no matter what, Maru needs this next game. After all of this, after 15 games over 2 days, you saw there, I think, the first indications of Maru being a little bit jumpy. His nerves getting to him a bit. Where he stimmed forward with no medevacs. If herO literally had no warp-ins, but he felt like he won that fight so convincingly that he could just go forward. And herO very quickly educated him on why that was a bad idea. Now, was it herO's intent to bait him into that fight? Or was it a happy little accident? The world may never know. herO may never know. But here we are. Match point for herO. Tournament point for herO. A Macorax? Wow. The real so, Maru is going for a Macorax, named after Mako Prime, who was on Maru's team back when he was on Team Prime in like 2010. The first player to come up with the idea of, maybe if I just hide my barracks, they'll freak out. Because everybody and their mother was doing a proxy Rax at the time. And then just float it back. So this is the maximum amount of stressing out your opponent with minimum investment. But herO, again, playing a different card. Instead of almost the entirety of the last series, he probe scouted at the beginning of the game. Like, religiously. He doesn't probe scout at all. So this entirely goes to waste. I mean, I guess he'll get his Reaper there a little bit quicker, but herO just scouted for proxies, somewhat ironically. They're still shifting those strategies, trying to find something that works. And is it better or worse that he doesn't know? Really, the results are all that matter now. It was impossible to come up with some sort of long-term strategic implications for either of these two so far. You know, okay, I'm gonna go back and say, I think that SCV got in before the pylon was finished. And the Nexus doesn't have enough vision to see it. Oh no. Okay, it does matter. It does matter a lot. That bunker is going to finish the stock as long as the Reaper lives. Ah. This does... Surprise! Well, unfortunately, your new home comes with a pre-existing bunker, which really makes the area much more dynamic and exciting to spice things up around the neighborhood. Raises the property value. You can salvage that thing for 75% of the cost. Well, Maru with the backline bunker rush. Putting it all on the line here. Oh, no! What a disaster! But he doesn't kill the second one. He somehow slips by the force field. It actually worked. And with only one Reaper, herO's gonna go for it. He may pull the probes again. Pulls back the sentry, gets a sip of the shield battery. There's still the SCV making things difficult. But one Reaper's not enough. Maru dug too deep and too greedily. He is gonna kill one probe, which is annoying. But the bunker cannot be salvaged. Not in time, and not while it's being damaged. The SCV is taken out. So, this was not all it, by any means, obviously. As Maru already has an expansion. herO does have 7 more probes, which is quite a disparity, especially considering Maru didn't go for the quick expand. He actually has the tech and is setting up for a Widow Mine drop. herO, on the other hand, is going for Blink. And does he have a Robo? Now, Robo not critical for helping deal with Widow Mine drop, but... The Reaper still driven away, and its existence will probably keep some of the Stalkers anchored a little further away than where the Medevac's going to drop. Boosting into the mineral line. And he pulls the probes against it. Somehow avoids those critical hits, but actually one of them with some Prairie Dog micro. Up and down and up and down and backing up and into the medevac and all around. And Maru still a threat. Both Widow Mines survive, though they got to be careful not to land too hard in the red HP. Hallucinated Phoenix. I think herO select all armied, so it didn't get too far across the map. The Stalker's just staring at it. And through all the fire and fury and the trauma that Maru's Widow Mines and just his units have wrought, I don't blame him. But definitely not as comfortable a start here for herO. And here comes the tank push. The boys. Tech the boys pulled. Not committing his entire economy, but still a significant chunk of it. He knows the tanks are coming across the map, but at the same time, the medevac with the Widow Mines existing will keep some of the Stalkers off the front line. The Banshee does not have Cloak, but it has enough HP to survive. It only needs 1. And the SCVs will repair it. And the siege tanks obliterate half the Stalkers immediately. Oh no, it's a disaster. herO loses a critical mass of Stalkers. He can't stop. The unsiege tank's just going forward. The Guardian Shield, he blinks over to the side. The probes are pulled. But the SCVs will box out. Only 1 tank will be shaved away. 2 Banshees to add the damage. herO abandons the base. Flee for your lives! Oh no. Charge is on the way, but the Twilight Council wall is going to be working against him at this stage. And it appeared the medevac came back. Maru hitting the select all army key. But despite that mistake, I don't know if in the end it will even matter. Another bunker on the other side of the Nexus. herO gonna battle it out. He has 3 gates. He's warping in the Stalkers, but so much has already been done. The probes are pulled. The last stand of herO. Will we be able to blink through? But the probes are stuck behind. Takes out one tank. There's another. The Stalker count is getting too low. The Banshee count is still too high. The probes were slaughtered. herO down to 18. It's a disaster. And I think we're going all the way. The bunkers will complete the Banshees overhead. And Maru, I think, dragging us to game number 10. Going to turn the series back. The pendulum again. This time around, herO, out of position, undercommitted. The bunker might not have gotten much done, but it definitely threw off his tempo. And now he's singing, metaphorically, of course, to Maru's tune. A very optimistic... No. The Stalker shut down, and that's it. We're all tied up yet again as Maru strikes back. And we go to the final game of the tournament. The winner of this next match will be the champion of the Revival Star League Season 3 of 2025. herO and Maru playing now 17 games over 2 days, on top of winning against everyone else, deserving their spot. If you like the RSL, there will be an offline tournament finals in December. So make sure to check them out on Patreon, on Twitch, on YouTube, if you enjoyed. And thank you for putting on such an incredible tournament and sending out the games as well, to at least those on Patreon. You should check it out. The Revival Star League, put on by Tasteless and Co. in Korea. All right. I had to kind of take a breather after that last one. My voice, after all these matches over the last few days, even though I've only done one series at a time, and let me know if you like this sort of format of following a tournament like it actually is, as opposed to just picking and choosing. I don't think it would work for all, but you know when these two are involved. Thank you for watching. Like, subscribe. Let's go. The final match will be held on Magnetic North. The maximum amount of games, the back and forth. One more time. In the bottom left corner, we have the best Protoss player in the world. In the blue, the smiling assassin from Team T1. It's herO, the Mad King. And the 9-time GSL champion. Looking to become an RSL champion for the first time, I believe. It's the man, the myth, the Maru. So, hopefully, you've had a good day so far. And hopefully this series has made it just a little bit better. I'm going to ask you one more time to like and subscribe. And one more time, Maru representing Team Prime with the Mecharax and herO. Here we go. herO with the proxy. It started with a cheese. The first time these two faced yesterday was a double proxy gate versus a double Barracks Marauder proxy. That's how it started. 17 games later, here we are. We pulled back a bit. It's been an arduous experience through the trials and tribulations of this cinematic universe. But again, it's a proxy gate and a proxy Rax. Not nearly as committed, but still very similar, as any good sequel should be. It goes a different direction. A new story is told. But the cheese is forever. The SCV scouting, what looks to be a standard sort of one-gate expand, though there is a lot of chrono boost here. We'll see. But they were all of them deceived. For another gate was made. The second pylon is conspicuously absent, though. Where is that bunker building? That's crazy. He's building a... He thinks it's a proxy Stargate. Oh, take the star out of the gate, though. And you just leave the gate. I don't know, it's funny. But the Stalker coming in. He was... Oh, no, now the Macarax works against him. The Marines are building on the wrong side of history. And he takes a bunch of damage on the way back home. The bunker, he's getting to the bunker, but like... Does he know for sure that there's no... Well, at this point, you can't just move your bunker around. Unfortunately. Maru misread it. He knew it was a cheese, but he couldn't decide which one. And now, with the wool pulled over his eyes, finally somewhat unveiled, it's a little bit too late to do anything about it. So this time, instead of herO being the one a little bit behind because of the early game choices, it will be Maru. But the the Reaper penned in and executed. It will be Maru who is in a bit more of an awkward spot. Salvages the bunker. Realizes he's been bamboozled. And now we head to a suspiciously standard-looking follow-up. herO's go... And then herO starts charge. Never mind. Well. The double adept. It is very risky to come up any ramp. The natural, much less so. A surprising amount of gateway units. A dangerous amount. He's gonna go for it. Is there another Widow Mine? There's just the one. I think he's willing to sacrifice the Adept. We'll see if he's willing to sacrifice a Stalker. Gets close enough. The Widow Mine, the lock-on, not quite in range. The charge lots are coming out as well, which is a bold call, and I don't think Maru's going to be expecting it. Because one, who answers calls nowadays? But two, herO's already showing so many Stalkers. I don't know if it's intentional or if he just happened to have that many kind of sitting around, but either way, the charge lots could be a deadly option. As long as he hits with them unscouted. If the charge lots get scouted before they're actually actively attacking, it becomes an order of magnitude easier for Maru to set up a good position to pull back and turtle up effectively. Because charge lots thrive on the open field, but they're not so good in tight spaces as, you know, the dudes with drugs and guns. Usually a bit more effective. Combat shield first for Maru. An intentional... Oh no, he's pulling the boys. This is... I just need as much meat in my shield as possible to try to break through. Oh, he's pulling the... For one last time. The boys will be called. One way or another. They'll likely die. But if Maru lives, that's what matters. He spots... I don't think the medevac drop had anything in it. Maybe it had a Widow Mine? No? No, it was just a scout. But herO's actually the one going forward. Thinking about attacking with his charge lots. A scan will spot the Robo. And a Robo Bay on the way. The charge lots are already here. herO in a great position to take advantage of. Yeah, the scan. I think he's going to realize now. The siege tanks. herO's going to go forward. And immediately regret that decision. And unfortunately, it will cost him a huge chunk of his army. Now's the time. Let's go. No? Now that's madness to me. Of all the time, it felt like he was setting up for the all-out, all-in. But he actually pulls back. Maybe just waiting? What could he be waiting for? Unfortunately for well, he doesn't know. He knows about the third base. The Banshee's scouting it. He doesn't know the RoboBay timing. And in fact, herO didn't build a Colossus immediately. And he's still not building one. He's building a Warp Prism. Which... And the boys! He knew it was coming. It was just a matter of time. And this is it. The entire tournament is on the line. With the boys coming across the map for one last dance. The Immortals, the Sentries, and honestly, this could go either way. Blast through one of the Cyclones immediately, but the Banshees have so much potential damage. The SCVs, you can't go home. There's no home. What? Maru, where are you going? Did herO, did he cancel his RoboBay? He did. I'm the one. Yeah, Maru, where are you going? This is not the time to dilly-dally. This is not the time to, daydream. He goes back home to mine? I don't know, Kev. Guess he felt like he couldn't break through, but 3 Banshees added in. He doesn't have Blink. There's still some Tactic Boys off the line. There's still no splash damage, but herO did just build a Templar Arc, and really? They go back to work for like 3 seconds. They get 1 mineral, and they're like, really, God, come on, make a decision. There's force fields with the siege tanks, but the Banshee's helping out over the top. The force fields are not perfect, but they may delay enough of this push, and Archon is on the way, knocks down the Observer. Here we go. Right? Maru, you can't go back anymore. The Archon showing up. There's no ghosts. So no EMP. The Archon going to be a deadly choice, but the sheer DPS output of the Marines. The Guardian Shield. Banshees being taken out slowly, though. The charge slots get on top of everything. The SCVs have been shaved down, but the Marines are stimming forward. Takes out the Archon. And Maru, his army's been thinned out, but herO as well. He lost the Archon. He lost most of the charge slots. He has 8 gates to follow it up. Every second matters. The siege tanks targeting needs to deal with the Archon. And the Immortals blast through the tanks. The last bastion of stability for Maru. And all he has left are Marines in a single... The more boys, come on in! Everybody get involved! It all ends here one way or another. +1 is done. herO has the supply, but the army supplies are dead even. An Immortal taken down. Feedback on the Banshee. Optimistic. The medevacs are nearly out of energy. He could get it. The probes! Yeah, everyone! Sure, just keep it going. Everyone piles in. herO obliges by bringing the probes up. There's no blink. But it doesn't in the end. I think even more. Immortals on either side. The Banshee coming in. Wait, how is this close? Those +1 Marines. The Banshee adding damage. He pulls back into the medevac. There's another siege tank on the other side of things. And herO moving forward. The Immortal targeted. Another one, though, gonna blast through the tank. The Banshee taken down. Single-digit Marines. Charge lots warped in. herO has enough economy to back it up. He has enough Stalkers on the field. He's done it, right? herO, I don't know if he had to, but he chose to pull the probes. And it certainly worked out. Maru is down to 20 SCVs. And didn't lose quite decisively enough. He knows herO pulled the probes. He can't tell exactly how much damage he did. And I'm sure he suspects it wasn't enough. But it's game 17. You gotta try. Literally everything on the line. And these Marines, I don't think, can carry the weight. He never got blink feedbacks. The probe count is too damn high. The Marines will be slurped up. I thought Maru might tap it out there on seeing the probe count, but... Yeah, yep, come on in. Send the rest. It's not enough. I think he's done it. Well, the charge lots go forward. Maru brings... Yeah, here we go! 3rd time's the charm. The Immortals are dropped out. The Liberator actually helping out a lot. Eventually gets taken down. Still surprisingly and dangerously close. But it's not close enough. GG! After 17 games in 2 days. After 10 games today. And 3 games in this series. The pendulum continues to swing. And herO is on the winning end of it. Maru's greatest mistake may have been winning the first game of the first series. Though with the way it was trending, if he didn't do that, we would have never made it here. I can't say it was the most drawn out, or even necessarily the best in terms of skill, but one of the most strategic, dramatic, and greatest examples of how StarCraft 2 can be a strategy game that I've maybe ever seen. As these two of the oldest players in the game, both in terms of experience and in herO's case, literally, with so many tournaments and finals against each other and in general under their belt, showing us how far they can take it. And honestly, I think it could have gone either way. But herO, again, in not unlikely, but in dramatic fashion, stands victorious. Thank you to the Revival Star League for putting on such an amazing tournament, bringing us these great players and games together, and look forward to the offline finals next month, December 2025. And thank you for watching. I hope I made a significant chunk of your day at least a little bit better. If you got the means of motivation, it'd be awesome to check out Patreon or YouTube membership. Thank you to our Mule Tier patrons for bringing in those extra minerals. Big Jiggy Davendor, Kate Mario Suit. Glad you still enjoy. But I hear liking and subscribing and even hyping is still free, at least for now. So, thank you for watching. Congratulations to herO. I hope to see you next time. Make sure to check out this video. Jimmy picked it out for you. Good luck, have fun. See you next time. Stay chill.